Welcome to the City Show. Pat O'Melia here. You there? It is hot out there. It is hot. It is humid. I was waiting outside for the sweeper to go by. Sitting in my hot van. That was so terrible. Don't forget, as I say every week, download the Live 365 app. You can get all the programming, my programming here. Radio, music, podcasts. There's a ton of stuff on Live 365. No, I need in my van. I need air conditioning. I got to take all my cars to get the air conditioning charge. Every one of them. They're all weak. The van's 20. I think it's got to go inspection. What is it? 21. This is 25. Another year, we won't have to go to inspection anymore. The 2001 Ford. Sitting out there waiting for the North Bergen sweepers to go by. Either I got to change the radio time, or I got to talk to Mayor Sacco about changing the street sweeper time. Well, it was hellacious out there, sitting in that hot van. But I am here. Only been sitting at the radio set for about 15 minutes. I'm still feeling the effects of the heat. I got my Gatorade. I got the orange Gatorade. I like the green Gatorade. Right now, I just like warm, wet Gatorade to get the electrolytes back in my body here. What are we going to talk about today when we come back from commercial? Well, look at the New York City primary. For that matter, the Mamdani guy beat the hell out of Andrew Cuomo. They ranked choice voting over there. It was a landslide win for this guy. But we can make comparisons between him and Jim McGrevy here in Jersey City. Let's talk about socialism. Is that what we're coming to now? Because this Mamdani guy, he's making a lot of socialist promises that ain't going to happen in New York. We want to talk about that as I go through my notes here. Got a lot of talking about that. We kind of walk away from what made this country great. We seem to be walking away from it. We're the greatest country in the history of this planet, and we seem to be turning our backs on what has made us the great country we are. We're going to talk about ridiculous bike lanes. You know, Mayor Fulop and the infrastructure people, they just put bike lanes on Summit Avenue. It's astonishing how stupid we get. We have to address these bike lanes, but they're going to be a problem. They're not already. They're underutilized, that's for sure. All right, medical billing. Remember I told you about last week? I was working, I got the medical bills, and I'm trying to figure out who to pay. Because when you're in a hospital, I was in a hospital with the heart procedure, you get bills from everybody. Well, actually, I get home last Tuesday, and I got a bill from a collection agency from a hospital. Now I'm trying to pay all these bills, and I never even seen this bill. But we'll get into that. What else do I want to get into? I got a lot of stuff I want to get into. New Jersey Transit, your fares went up 3% today. Are you aware that New Jersey Transit's fares are subsidized by your taxpayer dollars to the tune of 69%? Think about that. 69% of the bus, the trains, light rail is financed by you, people who don't use it. 69% of the budget. And we got a whole new hospital system here in Jersey City, and Bayonne Hudson Regional Health, I think it is. Is that it? Is that it? John Moshe's operation there. He took over Christ Hospital, Bayonne Hospital, and Christ, Bayonne, and Hoboken Hospital. It's now going to be Hudson Regional Health. We'll talk about that. But let's break for commercial so I can suck down some more Gatorade here and get some electrolytes in me. You're listening to City Show Radio here on GGR. We'll be right back.
Comprehensive healthcare is here, here, and here. RWJ Barnabas Health is healing, enhancing, and investing in Hudson County with its two newest locations, Hoboken and Exchange Place. Within walking distance or accessible by mass transit, our locations combine convenience with primary and specialty care, including cardiology, women's health, orthopedics, cancer care, and more. Let's be healthy together.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net.
We're back. City Show Radio, Pat O'Meal. You just listened to Johnny Burns' commercial there. Burns Brothers, Monuments and Memorials there on 787 Tunley Avenue. Our buddy does an excellent job. If you need a monument, a memorial, a plaque, go see Johnny. Again, don't forget to download the Live 360. Tell your friends. tell everybody, download the Live 365 app. You got a lot of programming this month. You'll have the MUA in here again. We're supposed to have public safety in this week, but we'll probably bring them in next week for their town hall. We'll get all these guys to do another July show. I'll give them off in August. And we got NJCU. They're doing a weekly show. Maybe we'll give them a couple of weeks off in August. But you got a lot of programming coming on here. You got me. I'm talking to John Highness. I'm going to see if John will come in and do a call-in show, an hour or 2 hours in the morning. I think what he does fits our shows properly and our network properly. And coming out of the summer, we'll have our radio setups in North Bergen, I think Hoboken High School. We have New Jersey City University be working with their kids. So not only will we have a New Jersey City University show here in the studio, we might have one that the kids are operating, the college students. And it looks like we're going to enter an agreement with Hudson County Community College, a meeting with them, I think, on the 8th, about working with their students. One of the things you got here with the Hudson Media Studio, it's an actual studio. It isn't something where we're going to throw some cameras over here and a little microphone. This is an actual functioning studio. I don't know how many sets we got up here at any given time. I guess 4 or 5. I guess with the green screen, it's 5 sets at any time. And the studio, it's like a transformer in here. It transforms into whatever we need it to transform into. Walls move out, furniture moves out, curtains slide in and out, green screens. And when the kids are in here, there is actually lights, camera, action. It is an actual studio. And there's multiple cameras, 3, 4, 5 camera shoots. We're broadcasting live. We can tape it. You got editing bays on the other side of the wall here that the kids edit all in the programs. They do their graphics. You actually learn. And I have a very skillful teaching setup. What I do is I just throw these kids in the deep end of the pool. First thing we want to do is let them learn the equipment. Google it, take our manuals, whatever, learn how the cameras. We actually get new cameras too. Learn the cameras, learn the equipment, and then we just throw you in the deep side of the pool. And I don't like to make busy work. I like to do work that's actually going to be utilized for something. I have a bunch of show ideas that are coming in, and by bringing the college kids in, that makes a lot of these shows a little easier to do because you got a little more freedom with the college kids. Plus, they have driver's licenses, so they can take our new control van, our Ford Transit Connect. They go out and do the filming out on the road, do B-roll. The high school kids can work with them. They can all work in the studio operation. We have some in front of the camera, some behind the camera. The two may never meet, but they'll be working on the same projects. So as we keep building the radio network and the Hudson County High School Sports and Entertainment Network, the GGR becomes very valuable. We can put these setups in the school so that the kids don't always have to come here to broadcast. They can do it there. For that matter, I'm going to be broadcasting live on the boardwalk in Seaside Heights, probably another week or so, right at the Franklin Street stage. I'll be doing a 2-hour show, probably every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday morning. So if you're thinking about going down the Jersey Shore for your vacation, I'll be helping you make that decision. I'll be telling you what's going on, what the best deals are rate-wise, what kind of discounts on the boardwalk, who's got the best pizza, where you get the best bang of your buck. And it is expensive. Everything's so freaking expensive now. But there are ways you can go to have a week's vacation, say in Seaside Heights. I know Seaside Heights best. I've been down there since 2008 filming on that boardwalk. There are ways you can stretch your dollar down there and have a good week or weekend. It's getting hard to get a 2-3 day place down there. Everybody's a minimum 5. They've knocked down a lot of motels in Seaside and are building condominiums and townhouses, that sort of thing. So the days of just popping into a motel, there's still some there, but not many. But that's the kind of things we have coming up here on GGR and in the studio here. A lot of it has to do with teaching. For that matter, I was just talking to some of the people the last week or so. I may put more of my focus on teaching. But we'll figure that out in September. Well, let's talk about politics. Want to talk about politics? I like to talk about politics. Politics. Is there the election last week where Andrew Cuomo, who was the leader in the race for up until like the last 2 weeks or so, before the Mamdani guy swooped in and beat him bad too. And they just released the second round of the votes. Cuomo's still getting beat. But unlike New Jersey, where we have a sore loser rules here, you lose the general election, you could say, I'll run as an independent now. So Cuomo might run as an independent, or he might not. He's still got to make a decision. He's talking to people. Think of all the talking he did over the last 6 months or so getting ready for the campaign. You'd know what your answer is. But yeah, very similar. Andrew Cuomo, he was the governor of New Jersey. He had to resign. Everybody said, he resigned in disgrace. Man, I don't like to use that word. It's kind of, he had to go. Let's put it that way. With some situations with females, there was some sexual accusations made. No charges were brought, but sexual accusations made. So he had to leave. Whatever way you want to describe how he had to leave, he had to leave. And he was making a political comeback he attempted here in New York City. And it looked like he was going to walk through it, but no, that didn't happen. But I met a Wiener. Was it Charlie Wiener was his name? Yeah, he ran too. He got squashed. He had like 10% of the vote. There's no political comeback. Sometimes you just can't come back unless it's a Marvel character or some Freddy Krueger thing. Yeah, you just can't come back. Wiener, he's not coming back, and doesn't look like Cuomo is coming back either. You can make some parallels here if you want to look into the future. Now, Jersey City has its mayoral race. Election day is this November. And the former governor of New Jersey, Jim McGrevy, is running for mayor, just as Andrew Cuomo, the former governor of New Jersey, was running for mayor in New York City. And he got trounced. Now, why did he get trounced? Well, he had great name value. I don't know how much the accusation of the sexual assaults hindered Cuomo. I think the biggest thing that hurt Cuomo was, first off, he didn't have a constituency in New York City. He had name recognition, but he had no constituency. Mamdani, I think I'm pronouncing it right. He had a constituency, a two-term assemblyman in New York City, so he had a constituency there. And two, Mamdani made a lot of promises that ain't no way in hell are going to happen. There's a lot of freebies in his platform here. But before we even get jumped into that, let's talk about this. Right now, the race for New York City now stands with the incumbent, Eric Adams. He is running as an independent. Zoran Mamdani, he's going to run. He's the Democratic. And my old buddy, my old friend who used to come into the old Lowe's Theater with us when we were filming on the stage there, Curtis Lewa, the guardian angel himself, Curtis Lewa. If you're on YouTube, you put in my name, Curtis Lewa, and Steve Fulop, and you'll see an old show where we have Curtis Lewa. It's Steve Fulop, myself, and Curtis Lewa is on the show, where he's talking about crime in Jersey City. And Curtis is bringing the guardian angels into Jersey City. He is going to clean up Jersey City and stop the crime. And he's talking away, and it's Mayor Fulop there. I don't think he's mayor here at this time. No, it's Healy's the mayor at the time. Steve is a council person. And how he's going to straighten everything up and how he's going to have a huge guardian angel group here in Jersey City. I'm like, it's not going to happen in Jersey City. It's just not who we are. I said, listen, you go ahead and you do this. And in 6 months, you come back and we'll talk about how successful you are. You want to talk about failure. Failure was guardian angels in Jersey City. There was no foothold he made there. He got nowhere in Jersey City. So the 6 months go by. And I reach out for Curtis Lewa. Because I even told him on the show, I said, I'll have you back here so I can tell you, I told you so. I know Jersey City. Wouldn't come back. He wouldn't come across that path to come into the Lowe's Theater or to the studio at that time, I guess. Wouldn't even talk to me. What a coward. This is why I don't think he'll win as mayor. But we got to see how this all shakes out. I wish my friend Angelo was still alive. He was a big Curtis Lewa fan. He passed away about 6-7 months ago. He would call Curtis's radio show. Curtis also a radio guy like me. So that's your three candidates. Now, getting back to the winner of the Democratic primary, Mamdani, he is a socialist. Now, socialism, that's a great thing until you run out of other people's money. And that's what's going to happen here. Now, Mamdani, and people buy this stuff. Guys, he is talking pie in the sky stuff here. I got to put my phone on quiet here. And my problem is once I do this, I put my phone on quiet, it never comes back on. Until I realize, boy, nobody's been looking for me for the last 4, 5, 6 hours. Oh, my phone's still on silent. Now, is it possible a socialist can win an election in the #1 city in the world? And that's not Jersey City, by the way. That's New York City. Is it possible socialism can take a foothold in America? I don't think that's possible, especially if you have half a brain and you look at the pie-in-the-sky promises that Mamdani is talking about. Free buses for everybody. Free buses. Nobody has to pay. Just get on the bus right along anywhere you want to go. Trains are free. Come on, get on a train. You won't even have to jump the toll, the toll, what are those things called? What is it? Turnstiles. Yes, turnstiles. You don't even have to jump them anymore. It'd just be free. It's free. Everything would be free for you. You wouldn't have to pay for a damn thing. Government supermarkets. There will be no shoplifting anymore because the food will be free in the government supermarket. You won't have to pay for anything. Rent? Don't worry about your friggin' rent because there will be no more rent increases. Rent will freeze. Landlords will freeze to death in New York City. They won't make a buck. They won't even be able to heat these apartments because they'll be frozen. Who the hell is buying this? Is this what New York, because here's the scary thing. What happens in New York City normally floats over, especially the crap, floats over the Hudson into Jersey City. People actually believe this stuff. First off, the guy is racist. I'm going to tax the white neighborhoods. Wow. Imagine if somebody turned around and said, I'm going to tax the black neighborhoods. Hey, that would start some stuff there. I'm going to tax. There shouldn't be billionaires. If I had my way, there'd be no billionaires. I'm not a billionaire. I'm a hundredaire. That's what I am. But I don't begrudge anybody the money they earned. Whether they got it through an education, they acquired a skill, they mastered their craft, they did great on investments. Some could be family generational wealth. Somebody earned that money. And if dad wants to give it to their kids, that's their business. But you want to work hard, and you made a success out of yourself. You earned that. You created that skill. You went out and got an education. You became a doctor, whatever the hell it is, and you've done a great job. You've managed to have a good living. You're putting money away. This guy wants to take your money and give it to others. It's like Robin Hood. You see, he should have one of those green hats with a feather in it. Because I'm Robin Hood, and get a couple of friars with you. That's not the American way. And the people who listen to this, you got to wonder, you honestly think you're going to get free bus and trains in New York City? You think that's going to happen? You think you never have to pay for food again? No, this is all pie in the sky, and these people bought this thing. The guy's anti-Jew. He's anti-white. He's anti-rich. I have no problem with rich people. I wish I was a rich people. I would like to be in that 1%. If I was a smarter guy and had better education, I'm a pretty smart guy, I'm just not an educated guy. I'd be like a master criminal if I had an education. I'd be right there with like the Joker and the Penguin. Think about it. If I had a brain, God, what could I have accomplished? Unfortunately, I had a different thing. Mom and dad were dead. I think it was a tough childhood. And I had to make my way through life. I would have loved to have education. I see what I've made sure my kids did. I got PhDs in the family now. I would have been dangerous if I had a PhD. Yeah. But you go out and you earn them. And every parent. One of the problems we have in the workforce, it has people talking about immigration. Should we allow the undocumented in? Yeah, we have rules and procedures, and a lot of people work with the system, and they take years to immigrate here. But nobody's raising their kids to pump gas or drive a forklift or repair cars. When I was younger, we took any job we could get, and we hoped we were good at it. But you know what? We could go out and get it, and everybody had a job. There was nobody who didn't have a job when I was a kid. But nobody's raising their kids to do those jobs. So there is a labor force that we need help with. Now, could it be the immigrants? Probably been that story for our whole history, using immigrants to do those type of jobs. They would become the carpenters and the welders, that sort of thing. But there has to be legal immigration. You could be anything you want in this country. At least that's how it used to be. But sitting here, people, maybe they're lazy. And, they just don't have the desire to go out and do what needs to be done to be successful in life. They're listening to this guy. Oh, I don't have to pay for the train anymore. That's great. I don't have to pay for a bus. I don't have to pay for food. That's never going to happen. And if this guy gets elected, he'll be recalled in a year because his promises will not happen. If anything, New York City will become so incredibly unaffordable that, like he said in his campaign, people will have to move to Jersey City. And we'll have to start getting like some plywoods and 2x4s and hammering up the holes in that Holland Tunnel. We can't take it anymore. Stay over there. We're building affordable housing, but we're trying to build it for Jersey City people, not for you in Brooklyn or Manhattan. We don't need the mass exodus to hyper up and supersize and come here. But that's what's going to happen. It will be so damn expensive. This guy's all he's talking about, taxes. And even goes, well, I don't have the ability to tax some of these people, but we can get Albany to do it. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think anything this guy is talking about is going to happen. But it just amazes me. We're turning our backs on what made this country the greatest country on the planet. I'm going to pick up on this when we come back from commercial. You're listening to the City Show here on GGR. I'll be right back.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
I'm back? Oh, I'm back. And it's the big GGR thing on my microphone's blocking you. You're back. We're back. This is the City Show Radio here on GGR. I'm Pat O'Melia. Let's go back to where I left off, where I was talking about what happened to America. Are we turning our backs on what made America the greatest country in the history of this planet? We were the people. We were the ones that did everything. We saved the world twice in world wars. We created television, the internet. We put men on the moon. The telephone, light bulb. There might be a problem with Tesla and Edison and who did what with electricity, but most of everything you look around was invented here in the United States. We were the can-do people. The greatest generation and all that. What kind of future are we leaving for our children? I won't see, even if a Mamdani guy wins, socialism won't take a foothold. They'll never really take a foothold in our country. But it won't become an issue in my lifetime, maybe my kids, certainly the next generation if this happens. But, what are we leaving our children? America, it's a capitalistic country. It's always been that way. You could go out and do whatever you could do. You can be, they always said you could be what you want to be. That's a little tough there. You can do better than most people. Can you be the president? Possible. Can you be Beyonce? I guess if you got the talent, maybe. There's only so few of them. But you can make a tremendous living in the United States. You just got to find out what you're good at, and don't be afraid of failure. I was on my ass twice in my history here, and only in America. I'm sounding like James Brown there in the Rocky movies, but it truly is. You can get up, dust yourself off, and get back on your feet. Capitalism made this country. It was supply and demand. You can make your future, become the person you wanted to be, just like I said, to some degree. But you had to work at it. Even in baseball, you want to be a support sports. You had to work at being a good baseball player or a football player, and very few, make it to the major leagues. You know how good you have to be bad in the major leagues? You have to be really good just to get a shot at the major leagues or the NFL. They talk about 1%, probably 1% make it to that level. But you could be a good minor league player, or you can make contacts in your sports days. But that's anyway. You go to college. I know people are talking to college. Is that really for everybody? Probably never was for everybody. Some people, those brainiacs, yes, they need that education. Some people are better with their hands, so they could go to trade schools. I went to Voc. I learned how to weld, even though I was kind of a welder before then, but I kind of firmed up my welding skills at the Votech. There were auto repair, body and fender. I don't even know if we still teach that stuff anymore. But I'd never met a guy that does body and fender work that was looking for a job. A plumber, I don't know any unemployed plumbers, unemployed electricians. You can really have a hell of a career in this country, but you have to apply yourself to it. I used to buy, sell, and repair tractor trailers. I failed twice in that. And sure sign of insanity is doing it again. Not that I do it once, I did it twice. Now, things were all right until 9/11 happened, and we had the shop in Newark. They closed the Holland Tunnel, so I lost a lot of my customers to a trucking company that went through the Holland Tunnel. Now they were forced to go over to Lincoln or the George Washington Bridge. They couldn't move the expenses fast enough. So it was like a daily event. I was getting bankruptcy letters from companies that owed me money. So I had to make the decision. I said, I can't hang in here anymore. I didn't want to repeat the mistakes the third time, because then you are a certifiable friggin' nut if you got to do the third. I hung in there during Florio with the toilet paper tax, where the trucking industry took a tremendous hit then. So I packed it up. And the only thing I had was the radio. So for now, I would be in the radio. And that's how I got into the radio business in my early 40s. And I enjoyed the radio. And I started making money. I was out there knocking on doors. I was driving trucks at night, delivering for Bed Bath & Beyond in New York City to pay for the radio show. And then the New York Yankees came by. They came to my radio station. They needed a Spanish language outlet. They went to NJR 1430. They offered NJR a ton of money to broadcast Yankee baseball. The only thing holding up that deal was this guy with the show on Monday at 9 and Wednesday at 9 o'clock. So NJR let me go. Even said, you could sue us. But we're going with the Yankees. So now, at that time, we had just started doing some TV work at the Lowe's Theater with Glenn D. Cunningham. Glenn passed on, so I was stuck with the TV deal for a while. So now I had to embrace television that I knew nothing about. Actually, I didn't know much about radio either, but I was buying the time and I was learning as I moved along there. Only in this country, believe me, where you can go from selling trucks to hosting a radio show to now hosting a television show to a couple of 3 years later owning a studio where I'm now producing and I'm teaching people and camera guys and lighting guys and audio guys, all the while not having an effing clue on how you did any of this. But I was the guy that would dream this stuff up, and I'd create the opportunities for other people. There's one thing I did recall when I was trying to get into radio. I would like not to have had to pay $500 an hour as I was. There wasn't a radio station that would give me a shot. They would not give me a break. They wouldn't close doors in my face. So ever since then, when I started the studio, even when I started filming in the Lowe's, I gave everybody an opportunity. You wanted to try, you wanted to be a camera guy, come on. You want to be sound, lighting, whatever you want, you can learn what you can with us. And we opened a studio on Central Avenue. That same thing happened. I would take interns from the colleges. When we were doing good with the interns until MLB opened up a studio in Secaucus. And all the interns went there, not realizing you're going to be stuffing envelopes there. With me, you were actually learning. You were behind the cameras. You were pushing furniture around. You were doing the lighting, audio. Almost every intern, I tell you what, pretty much everybody who interned with me or did their community service time with me, what I call the 2 or 3 years, they've all moved on to bigger and better things. They all have a career in this field, and they're all still in this field. That's the great thing about this country. You could get up off your ass and try again. Probably smarter if you don't do the same thing 2 or 3 times. But somehow I just kept getting pushed into the media, and getting into the media. When I started the radio show, we got into the politics with the Jersey City show. What did I know about politics? Not a thing. But I knew the mayor of Jersey City at the time was Brett Schindler, and I was starting the Jersey City talking show. And I contacted City Hall and asked to speak to the mayor, and I spoke to Mayor Brett Schindler. I told him what my concept was for the Jersey City talking show. And he said, what, anything you need from me? You got free run. He gave me the names of all the department heads. And it was great. He was such a cooperative guy, and he was the first guy I did an interview with. Not unbeknownst to me, is actually I knew Brett Schindler. In my trailer repair days, I used to repair his dad's trailers, Schindler Industries. His dad had a very successful company down here in Middlesex. And I would go in there, I'd have to pick up my check and speak to his dad, wave at Brett Schindler. He was probably like Bob Cratchit in the corner doing the books, that sort of thing, you know. And I was going to see his dad. And he never mentioned it until after 9/11. I went down and interviewed him. He was stuck in Israel when the attacks occurred. And I went down to interview, and I got the tape recorder, put him on, and we're yakking about the city, that sort of thing. And he looked at me and goes, "You don't know who I am, do you?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" "You're ex-mayor of Jersey City. I know who you are." I said, "You don't know who I am." And he talks about his father. He goes, "Yeah, I used to repair his trailers." And then it dawned on me. He says, "It's his son." And I didn't realize that. But the Jersey City show got me into politics. A lot had to do with Brett Schindler opening all those doors for me. Unbeknownst to that would have been nice if you said, "Hey, my dad says hello," you know? No. But that's the amazing thing about this country. You can be successful here. You have to apply yourself. And look today. I'm sitting here, what is it, like 4,000 square foot studio. We got high school kids, college kids working in here. John Heinous, a young guy doing reporting. We gave him a show. You got Fernando Uribe. Say whatever you want about Fernando. He speaks his mind. You may not all appreciate what he says, but I believe all voices should be heard. Anybody who wanted something in the studio, we've taken care of them. You know, we've given them every opportunity. It's in this kind of a country. See, that's where I don't see how we can actually even look to be turning into socialism. I know we got a guy running in Ward B for council. He's a Democratic Socialist. I'd be really surprised if any of them was successful here in Jersey City. I just don't see socialism taking hold in the United States, Jersey City in particular, but the United States as a whole. Yeah, we are the greatest. We have to go back and look at what made us great. And you just see, I don't want to endorse violence, but what happened with Iran and Israel, the United States stepped in for a few hours there, dropped some bunker busters. That war's over right now. Now, again, it's the Middle East. Is it ever over there? No, I doubt that. But right now, the greatest country in the world just stopped a ton of bloodshed. And with Iran, again, I didn't forget 79 with the 444 days with the hostages. If they had gotten nuclear power and they were working on intercontinental ballistic missiles, one would have been coming our way. So, but the greatest country in the world stopped that. Now, if Trump can get Ukraine and Russia to a table, he'd really be rolling. That's what Citarelli needs, by the way. He needs a strong Trump going into November, and he'll win. But getting back to what I'm saying, is it possible that we can embrace, as a nation, socialism? I don't know. Yeah, it's like I said, it's like socialism only works until you run out of other people's money. Name me a country where socialism works. I know we keep talking about Venezuela. No, Garrett's over there waving something. Iceland? That's it. Yeah? Well, Canada has free health care. Nobody considers Canada one of the great nations in the world. Isn't that going to be our 51st state? What happened with that? And are we buying Iceland? No, we're buying Greenland, right? One of them, yeah, I think it was Greenland and Canada. But yeah, it doesn't work. The Robin Hood mentality isn't going to work. And it always surprises me why people always point out and finger the people who are successful in life as the reason we have to tax them. They got to pay their fair share. What is their fair share? They got to pay more because they're successful? They got that education, they got that skill, they made the investments, their family, whatever the case is. They're successful, and you want to take that away. You're successful, you got to give it to me so I can give it to this person who didn't accomplish anything, who doesn't appear to ever go to accomplish anything. See, that's the problem. See, our country, the United States, all through time. Yeah, listen, I have no problem helping people get on their feet. Not a problem. I don't think we owe you a living or a life. I have no problem helping people get on their feet. But that's what we're slowly getting into. We're getting so dependent on the government. Government money, government food. It's the old days, just government cheese. That's becoming more and more. You need to go out and do whatever you can. What is your skill? What is your gift? Yeah, you may not even know what your skill and gift is. Like I said, with me, I was a trailer mechanic. I run a studio now. You don't know what it is until you're put into that situation, or you try to achieve that situation, or you just follow it sometimes. And really, to me, with the radio to the studio, to TV to studio, I was just kind of following the stream there. But I made sure every step I took, it benefited not only myself, it benefited other people. It benefited a lot of kids. I don't know how many kids have come through those doors and are still in this business today because they came through those doors and they got that experience from me. Like I said, I don't mind helping people get on their feet, but I don't think the government owes you a living. Like I said, that was on my ass twice. And each time I managed to dust myself off, get up, try again. Probably shouldn't, like I said, have tried those 2 times again, but you figure, I learned. Tell you one thing, being in business for yourself, you're the last person to read the signs. The red flares, the flags, or flags, what do you want to say? You're the last one that's going to read them. You keep thinking, I'll pull. You're like that relief pitcher. Yeah, I could get this last guy out. Yeah, give me that ball. I can get across the end zone. You're the last guy to be making that decision. But in this government, you can be, at least the old United States, you could be whatever you wanted to be. At least make a good shot at it. But here now, this nation's on a bad slope here. Yeah, we're very dependent on government. A lot of people are very dependent on government. And we need to get back to the American way. It's not like Superman. You're going to see Superman standing on the planet right now, hands on his hips. The American way. Yes, Jimmy, the American way. That's what we need to get back to. All right, we're going to break for commercial. When I come back, we'll talk about ridiculous bike lanes here in Jersey City. You're listening to City Show Radio. I'll be right back.
No one plans on heart disease, but everyone should have a plan for it. We help patients of all lifestyles and medical histories plan for healthy hearts. We offer convenient screenings without judgment, hundreds of preventive programs, and women's heart specialists. And we're the largest cardiac surgery program in New Jersey. Make plans for a healthy heart with RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants. All major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
We're back. City Show Radio, Pat O'Melia here. Now that I've discussed socialism, don't embrace socialism. Go to the American way. Red, white, and blue. America, we're number one. We're number one. Fly a flag outside your house. I remember in Bayonne. Bayonne used to have flags all over the place. You go into Bayonne, it was like, it must have been a flag manufacturer up there. They used to have flags everywhere. Actually, I think this weekend, I'll get a flag. I'll put it on the deck. And I'll wave it proudly. I was thinking about getting a solar flag and put it on the fence down at my kid's house in Seaside. I seen it on Amazon. I'm a patriotic guy, and I like the yard lit up. For that matter, one time we had a power failure in Seaside Heights, and I must now have like 140 solar lights in my kid's yard in Seaside. I mean, we got some good lights. This thing lights up at night. We had the power failure in Seaside Heights. Like all the cops were now like in my yard because it was all they could read the reports. It was so bright. I'm like, what are you guys doing out here? It's lit up pretty good. You don't mind we hang out here, do you? So I'm thinking about getting in America a solar flag that can hang on the fence. But I will get a flag. Ridiculous bike lane. Are any of them not ridiculous bike lanes in Jersey City? No, they're all up. But we've gone out of our way to up the gain on ridiculous. We just paved Summit Avenue up by the Five Corners. And they just put the bike lanes in. These huge, I guess they're like 4, maybe 5 feet wide bike lanes. And how we're situating this is you have the sidewalk. Then you're going to have this wide, green, ugly, underutilized bike lane. For that matter, Phillip just tweeted about this. And you see the bike lane there on Summit. And he's talking about putting another one on the other side of the street. And I'm like, of course, I text, again, the picture with nobody on the bike lane. You got the sidewalk, 4-foot bike lane, I guess. Then you got the boulder rods, these plastic poles. And then you park along the boulder rods. And then, of course, you have Summit Avenue. You've squeezed Summit Avenue to a very tight one lane going south. And, of course, you're going to squeeze it the other way when he puts a lane on the other side. If there is an emergency vehicle coming, you have no place to pull over because you got the cars parked there. You got a 4-foot friggin' bike lane in between the sidewalk and the cars, and the same thing on the other side. If there's an ambulance, a fire truck coming, too bad. And the traffic is usually hellacious over there anyway, because we keep creating traffic in Jersey City. We bottle up this city, and particularly with bike lanes. Here's my deal with the bike lanes, and we need to get a survey done. The utilization of these bike lanes. And they're not little lanes anymore, like 2 foot. Now they're like these 4-foot green monstrosities here. Are they being used? Are they utilized enough to justify a 24/7, 365 infrastructure? No, they're not. Yeah, and there's so many other problems. It's from a garbage pickup. I got the garbage truck on Summit now, blocking up the whole effing street because he's trying to pick up the garbage. And now we extended their walk. They got to go between the park cars, over the friggin' bike lane, and to the sidewalk to get the garbage cans. That extends. You say, well, it's only another 4 or 5 feet. well, 4 or 5 feet every garbage can, that adds time. And when it snows, now again, I want to see these bikes. We haven't had a good snowstorm in a couple of 3 years now. I want to see it when we have a good one. Because you know who's not riding bikes in the snow? Bike riders. They're not riding the bikes. If it's cold, they're not riding the bikies. If it's raining, they're not riding the bikies. If there's snow on the ground, they're not riding their bikies. If there's ice on the ground, they're not riding their bikies. If it's hot like it is today, now we have a shower in the studio. Not most places have showers in the studio. If you're pedaling your ass to work in the heat like today, they're going to turn you around when you get to work because you stink. Get out of here. I'm sweating in the van, and I'm not pedaling anywhere. This is not a practical mode of transportation, 24/7, 365. It just isn't. And we need to do a survey. Maybe during the summer, I'll pick one of these bike lanes, and we'll put a camera at the end and just let the camera run until we fill the chip, just to see how many bikes are coming by. Is it worth having this infrastructure? Not only installing it, we got to maintain this. What happens when it snows? Do we have like we got a bike with a plow on it maybe? That's going to come and plow these bike lanes? No, I don't think we do. How do we street sweep this? Is there a little bike street sweeper that comes down? No, we don't have any of that. This is nobody can put any thought into it. But if you talk to some of the politicals, and I talk to them all the time, privately they say, yeah, this is a waste of time and money. Go down Washington Street. You want to see a waste of time and money? Go down to see the bike lanes down there. Every time I go to City Hall, when I get there, I'll say how many bikes I see. I've seen 3 bikes from North Bergen to here. By the way, it took me about an hour, 15 minutes to get here, because once you get into effing Jersey City, it's like, just slows up because everything is slowed up. You got the bike lane. And plus, we like to close streets for anything. You're putting in a water main, close the street. You're delivering some sheetrock, close the street. Pizza delivery, close the street. Everything is so hard to get around this city. And we just keep making it worse. Central Avenue, my neck of the woods. It's a nightmare there. And, I tell you another thing, Steve, Mayor Fulop, my buddy, my buddy. Real brainstorm there, putting the senior citizens on Central Avenue and the senior citizens center there in the old parking authority building. Yeah, with all those buses dropping off them seniors, really clogs up Central Avenue because there isn't a lot of parking on Central. And you know what? Them seniors aren't very quick. They're like me now with a cane. They're very slow. Takes forever to get on that bus. And we have like 2 or 3 buses. You got the Hudson County buses there. You got the city's buses there. Yeah, good idea there, Stevie boy. No way to clog up the avenue and take foot traffic off. You took foot traffic off from people going to the parking authority. That would spend money on Central Avenue to a bunch of seniors in buses who aren't spending any money on Central Avenue and just clogged up the friggin' avenue. Good work. Plus, you have the renegade e-bikes all over the place. I mean, that's something we got to crack. Hoboken's talking about cracking down on. That's what we do with e-bikes. Probably with bicycles in general now. They got to be registered and insured. They can cause an accident. They got to be able to pay for an accident. But getting back to the ridiculous bike lane, all over, and we're just making them wider and wider. And I tell you, the one on Summit Avenue, it's cross it off. Don't try to go that way anymore. And plus, we still have Baldwin Avenue blocked off in one direction. I got to find out, when are we opening that again? It's almost been about a year since the train hit the bridge down there. Newark Avenue has turned into a ghost. That used to be a shopper's mecca. Newark Avenue, not anymore. We completely ruined that. Completely ruined Newark Avenue because bike lanes and Vision Zero. That's another smart one there. Vision Zero. Let's put these bump outs. Let's extend the sidewalks. Let's extend it out 3 foot on the corners. So this way, when somebody's trying to make a delivery with a straight drive or a trailer or an oil truck or a fire truck, they can really have to go wide to make the right. But wait a minute. We're trying to make that right, but there's a friggin' car at the corner. We can't make the right because we cut out 3 foot here and 3 foot on the other side, 6 foot of swing radius. We don't think. That's like the brainstorm with, I don't want to say idiots and morons, but I have just now, so I guess I said it. With Manhattan Avenue, well, they want to make it a one-way going east. They want to make one half of it a bike lane. Effing ridiculous. So you want to go down Manhattan to the Stop and Shop where you want to make a left. But hold on, they put a bike lane in front of the Stop and Shop. So now you don't have any turning radius for delivering trucks or fire engines because they can't go wide to make the left. You got to go right to make the wide left. Because the stupid-ass bike lane is over there. And now you got a bike lane in front of them. And then you're going to swing around. If you get around the bike lane in front of the Stop and Shop, we put another half a block of bike lane on Franklin. And we turn that into a one-way west. Bottle up Central Avenue. Yeah, that's great. And the brains on the city government there, if I want to go west, I have to go down and cut through Persian Field Park. Yes, that's run all the traffic through Persian Field Park where the kids are playing. Or we'll send it to Jefferson Street to make a right to get up to Summit to go west. Oh, but there's those schools are over there. Real brain, real thought went into this. Everywhere we try to put these bike lanes, it doesn't work. You know why? Because Jersey City's an old city. We don't have the room. And forget about, well, what about car storage? That's what parking is, it's car storage. That's from the voices of a very minute group of people who don't drive. Everything we build in Jersey City, it's one of the first things they say. Well, you know, they're moving over from New York City, so they won't need a car. Yeah, of course they're going to have a car. But they're not Hoboken and 18th Street. How many cars are down there from all the people that moved over? And stop telling me about people moving from New York City to Jersey City. Am I building for these people in New York? I'm trying to build affordable housing for people in Jersey City. But I'm admitting right off the bat, people from New York are going to come over here, they need a car. They're heading a car. And they're riding the bikes. Nobody's riding these bikes. Right off the bat, it's probably 100 or 200 to 1 vehicles to bikes. And we keep embracing the bikes. Eventually, somebody's going to get in City Hall and say, you know what? This is friggin' ridiculous. And that's what it is with these bike lanes. I rode around Jersey City in my youth, all over the city, every day. Now, I know people saying, well, we just had a child that died. That is effing tragic what happened there. And the investigation is going on. I know I had heard about the investigation. It is tragic. That UPS driver is tragic for the father. It's tragic for everyone involved. Every day they will think about that child. But that had nothing to do with a bike lane. That had nothing to do with Vision Zero. That was a flat-out accident. Now, of course, we're gonna assign blame to somebody here, and it's either going to be the UPS driver or the father. But Jersey Avenue is a very difficult street. It's a very busy street. And you have to be very careful of what you're doing on Jersey Avenue. It's not a playground. It's not a park. It is a thoroughfare there. It's the same streets I rode bikes on when I was a kid. I rode all my friends. We rode all over the place. I don't think we were doing that at 6 years old, but say, at 10 years old, yes. 6 years old, we were still riding around in front of the house or something down there in Dogpatch. But before anybody says about the child, yes, I'm very aware, and it was tragic. But I don't think that had anything to do with bike lanes or Vision Zero. That was a flat-out, straight-out, tragic accident that's going to haunt the people involved for the rest of their lives, and that is very unfortunate. All right, we're going to break for a commercial. You'll listen to The City Show. I'll be right back.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
We're back. City Show Radio here. Pat O'Melia on GGR. Don't forget, download the app. Download the app. Live 365 app. Download it. One thing before I leave the bike lanes, we are creating so much traffic. But I mean, another thing on Summit Avenue, I'm not even sure how wide the lane is now. I don't know about 102, 8.5 foot wide unit getting through there. Straight job, cube band, that sort of thing. It is pretty tight there now. But what we are creating is a very difficult city to transverse. And there eventually will come a time where Amazon, FedEx, UPS, Uber, DoorDash, etc., they're going to put a fee onto those deliveries in Jersey City because we are making it so ridiculous to get across this city. Like I said, it'll take me like an hour, 15 minutes to get from the studio to City Hall. A friend of mine who was a developer in Jersey City left his office, and when I'm talking to him on the car, and he goes, I left the office 45 minutes ago. I'm still in Jersey City. I say, yeah, welcome to my city now. You can't cross it anymore. Both of us are born and raised in the city. You can't get across Jersey City anymore. Like I said, we need a survey on these bike lanes. We need somehow to make the flow of traffic work better here. You just can't keep bottling up the city and expect for it to prosper. And I want to shock you people, the cars are going to rule for a long, long time. But we don't have any subways. We don't have any mass transit here. Yeah, we got Vibe. We got the city Vibe. Guess what's the city Vibe? It's a minivan. It's the same roads. You got to open things up. Or, we'll eventually pay the fiddler here. Medical billing. I was talking last week. I'm trying to figure out. We had a procedure done on my heart. Then I lost 75% of my blood. I was rushed to the hospital. They had transfusions. I was in the hospital for like 7-8 days. My normal count is, for that matter, I'm waiting for blood test results now. My normal count is around 16.5. I got to that emergency room, I was like 4.2. Got a gunshot wound kind of situation. I bled so much. When you're in a hospital, you get a lot of bills. I mean, you get bills for people you didn't see. They may just have ghost bills. It's just a ghost stopped by and looked at you. I mean, anybody who peeks in, waves at you, looks at you, they all get $5,000, whatever it is. But they charge Medicare on it. And you keep getting these bills for $250, $350, $180, whatever. So you're trying to pay all these bills, and the hospital's now saying you got to pay so much. But you're paying what you can and in what order. And I thought I was doing a good job, and I talked about this last week. Go home last Tuesday night, and I got an envelope with a weird-looking envelope. Turned out it's a collection agency. I have like August to pay for this. I think it's $475. Now, I have some connections with the hospital industry here in Hudson County. So I made a phone call to the hospital, explained who I am, what I do, mentioned a few people that I know, and I said, I want this bill out of collections. I want it out of now. I said, if you can't do that, tell me, because I'll accelerate this to the person I mentioned before, and I'm sure he'll make a phone call and get this out of collection. They got out of the collections for me. And they said, I've never seen this bill, by the way. Never seen it, and I got a bunch of them. And they tell me, well, did you look at your chart? Why did you look at my chart? Send me the bill. I would get emails constantly about bills, and I'd take care of the bills. So we got it out of there, and I'll take care of that. Somewhere along the line, we need to simplify medical billing. You have to have an idea of what bills are coming, who they are, and maybe we should have a roster, a sign-in sheet when you're in a hospital. When whoever comes by, they sign in and tell me who you are, because I'm getting a bill, and I don't know who the hell you are. We're going over the bill because of the collection agency thing. So we pull out the whole thing, Medicaid. There was a cancer doctor in that's seen me. I have cancer. There were all different specialists that come in to see me. I swear, you need a sign-in sheet. There's got to be a clipboard at the end of your bed, and people just sign in and say, I'm here, I'm a podiatrist. You're in there for a heart situation? Well, your feet are fine. That'll be $5,000. So I'll take care of the bills, but somehow, maybe I'm the guy. I sit down with Raj McCurkey and Brian Stack and all our state senators, state reps, and Jessica Ramirez. Somehow we could simplify this. That you and I'm not really a numbers kind of guy. My wife is real good at that. My wife will go through the whole medical bill. She'll find a bunch of errors in there, and she found a bunch of errors in there also. We need to simplify this. Maybe I'm the guy that can make that change. Somebody's got to make the change. But I may mandate that we have a sign-in sheet. Who's ever coming in, you got to sign in and tell me where you are. What you're here for. Like I said, I probably looked. There probably was a podiatrist in there. Like every other doctor and every other specialty came by, waved to me, and $5,000. New Jersey Transit. New Jersey Transit today raised their fees 3%. I think the light rail, I came out to $295 a trip now. That's a pretty good price, isn't it? $295 take a light rail. I've never been on the light rail. I could probably, on my two hands, how many times I've been on a bus or a train in my life. But I mean, as a patrol boy, I used to see the PATH train Broadway. I mean, they'd be packed in this, like, I swear to you, like sardines when I was a kid. And it's still the same. It's probably worse now. And for about 4 days, I used to work at Robert Hall's. I had to take the path over there to Robert Hall's, like on 34th Street. Me and Robert Hall's weren't long to be, because I was not riding his path train anymore. Even as a kid of 16, 17 years old. That was out. And if you discount the times I rented buses to take customers to Atlantic City, I probably on a bus maybe 5 times. Are you aware that that bus fare, that train fare, that light rail fare is underwritten by your tax dollars to the tune of 69%? So basically, that train fare should be $10, not $3. Somebody's paying. The ferries, you're on the ferry. I'm taking the ferry. You're paying, I think they pay like $14 for the ferry. Another 28 is being taken care of by the government. You. There's something wrong with that. Why is that so subsidized? And not only that, there's the whole question, why the fare should be what the fare is. You know, it should at least break even, New Jersey Transit, which is impossible because they're so poorly run. It's the worst run operation in the world. They have no respect for money. That's why we lost so many bus companies. New Jersey Transit has no respect for money. Their lack of respect ran private companies out. Because New Jersey didn't care what it cost. We charge $2 for the bus. That guy's got to charge like $8 for the bus. He's out of business. That's why you have no mass transit here in Jersey City or New Jersey. That's why it's horrible. That's why New Jersey Transit is horrible. The trains are horrible. The light rail is horrible. The buses are horrible. It's all horrible. And you're paying your tax dollars, 70% of the budget you're paying for. Hospitals. We're talking about hospitals. We have a new system. A whole new system here in Jersey City or in Hudson County. Hudson Regional Health. A friend of mine, Jan Moshe, is the head of this. They took over. They had Hudson Regional in Secaucus, which now will be known as Secaucus University Hospital. In Bayonne, it will be the Bayonne University Hospital, formerly Bayonne Medical Center. And Hoboken University Hospital, formerly Hoboken University Medical Center. And in the Heights, there's no more Christ Hospital. Christ is gone. He has been replaced with Heights University Hospital. I don't know what happened to Christ, but somebody's going to pay for that in the end. There's someday at the pearly gates, somebody's going to have to answer for that. But those are our hospitals. It isn't just a rebrand. It's a rededication of care in Hudson County. Hudson Regional Health is now one of the largest and fastest growing systems in the state. And we're using that momentum to bring real innovation to our communities, said HRH Chair, my buddy, Jan Moshe, said in a statement. We'll see how that all works out. We'll see how that goes. I'll get Jan in here. We'll probably do some interviews with him. All right, we're out of show. You be good. You be safe. I'll talk to you next week. Good night. And happy 4th of July. Happy 4th of July. Bye.